I don't see that being something that lasts long if all of a sudden we see a massive influx from the mainstream as they are awoken to what can happen in an interest rate rising environment when you're looking at assets inversely priced against them.
Your talk at the Rule Symposium focused on a very big macro picture that playing out on a global scale and a locus of influence over these events ahead coming from the East. And that was very eye-opening for, I think, a lot of the people there. I think a lot of people left almost stunned from the room after your second talk there. I would like to add just a tiny little personal anecdote. Another client trying to purchase junk silver this week, actually it was last week, and was very eager to get going on early in the week, said, let's lock in the order. And turns out, he said, well, my funds, I do have to sell some stocks, but that should close same day, and I should be able to wire you the money. And I said, I think you'll find by talking to your broker that stocks take like 3 days to settle, and then they can get you the money, and then you got to decide based on the method that they transferred it when it gets to your bank, whether your bank will let you wire it right away or not. And after checking into that, in fact, there were about 4 or 5 days that had to expire along the way here to get the money lined up. And then today we went shopping together for him in our inventory for junk silver, constitutional 90% dimes and quarters. We bought the little scraps that we had left in the bottom of the barrel, and I asked our operations. They said 4 weeks out, optimistically, till we're going to have, full bag sizes of that again. So we started going down through the categories of 90% constitutional, getting what we could, cleaned out the next category, and this was just to put together a kind of a medium-sized order. So people, and then today, then another client later this evening wanting to know about silver buffalo rounds. Told them, yep, we can get them, but they're going to be 4 weeks out. So we have had a fairly consistent basis of comments almost mocking the message that we've tried to put out here as a awakening and awareness building message, that it is getting more difficult for categories which would have been just commonplace or trivial to fill any size order you wanted to in the past, that it is now. We have multiple very popular categories such as the most affordable, dimes and quarters, random year circulated 90% constitutional silver, now perhaps 4 weeks out, buffalo silver rounds 4 weeks out, etc. So it's interesting times already, again, in the retail side of things.
One of the things that I think has made me successful as a businessman is being able to see things that are coming that are not right in front of your face. And then if all you do is stare right in front of your face, or for skiing terminology, you're never supposed to look at the tips of your skis. You're supposed to look way out in front, 20, 30 feet ahead of you. If you don't do that, you end up, I think, not making the right decisions. And so all of the things that I have talked about regarding product in availability or the lack thereof defining this marketplace, I'm looking not at the tips of my skis. I've said that for a while now, that people can think I'm talking my book, but I say it to you because if we see a major influx in demand by the public at correlating with drawdowns in equity values and people leaving 401ks, leaving IRAs, getting out of the market, taking control of their funds and looking for a safe place to put it, it won't take very much to completely disrupt this entire ecosystem. And that's really what people need to understand. Yeah, it's available. It has been available at much higher premiums and much more difficulty getting it. And yet I don't think we've even begun to broach the mainstream. Yes, we've expanded into a larger segment of the population who's interested in precious metals, but it's a very small marketplace. And I stand behind what I'm saying, that junk silver is emblematic of everything you're going to see in this market. Look at the U.S. Mint. Why in the heck would they tell us that they are decreasing production of gold products by 50% in the second half of 2022 when really most people buy silver? I mean, now they're making it difficult to buy gold. And if the U.S. Mint runs out of product, like Gold Eagles or premiums have already, remember I told you I expect premiums to rise. They're up as much as like $165 over spot on almost every company in America, and then some. And I said this a few weeks ago. So that's going to pull up all of the other gold items. You're already beginning to see it happen. Does that mean that product is disappearing? No, it's still available, but I will tell you that if the U.S. Mint and the price of the gold and silver eagles are any even remotely close to what I expect ultimately to happen on a broad scale, yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. And I know I've gotten heat for it, and I openly understand that. I get it. It's really hard to try to be objective and let people understand that. Yes, I run a business. Yes, I want to sell metal, but I'm not in the business of lying to people to get them in the front door. That's not the way to do it. I'm being dead serious. I think it's going to be a very big deal when the people who have never even thought about buying gold but have heard it from their friends, and all those people start running to buy it. When the market starts to crater because maybe Saudi Arabia decides we are going to join BRICS and open up oil purchases to other countries, and the dollar starts to come home, all those dollars, and inflation picks up and interest rates start to really spike, not at the hand of the Fed, but at the hand of the market, and things start to really get shaky, as I think we will see, then I think you'll see what I mean. Because if 5% of the people out there with managed accounts or whatnot say, my gosh, where do I go and look to metals? I mean, in the blink of an eye, it's it. You see how hard it is to get junk silver after we do this one very large sale where we cleaned out all the junk we had and that of most companies around. But what happens if that client it didn't care what that they bought and what we're happy to buy any of the bullion items we had, and we sold out of $50 million worth of gold and silver bullion products, and then what? Now we're going to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks to get more stuff in, and we'll probably sell that before it's delivered. And it's a cycle that's very fragile, and I see it all based upon an increasing demand by the mainstream and the increasing awareness. And when that really takes hold, yeah, everything's going to be like junk silver. I do mean that. And we are reliant upon 6 major mints of the world, 4 of which are across the Atlantic, one of which is the absolute epitome of inefficiency, the U.S. Mint, and the Canadian Mint's not far behind. So, it's walking a tightrope, and we're fortunate that we're high up on the food chain and have good relationships and pay fast and are able to get product keep coming in the door. But I don't see that being something that lasts long if all of a sudden we see a massive influx from the mainstream as they are awoken to what can happen in an interest rate rising environment when you're looking at assets inversely priced against them. And when they really see things start to fall, not just fall 30% and then hang in there, but I mean really fall in the face of massively rising interest rates, that's when everything like that disappears. You have to be in the door first, like these commercial banks and these managed money traders, the others that are taking all of this metal before that happens. Huge amounts, 10 million ounces in a month. I mean, that to me is very, very significant and bears, I think, keeping an eye on, because they always lead the charge, and the big money is indeed, would appear, front running this when you put it in conjunction with the massive drawdown in the short position of the commercials, how bullish that really is. It even becomes more bullish when you see how much metal is being taken off the exchanges.